Welcome to another episode of the Three Hokages podcast. We're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Today we have a brave new world. So we're going to be discussing the recent Captain America film, where it ranks within the MCU. We'll also be discussing the newest season of Invincible. And lastly, but not leastly, Star Wars Outlaws. So we got a little gaming in store for you as well. Kareem, you and I both saw Captain America, Brave New World. Kay hasn't seen it. We will be discussing spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, you want to come back to this, sure, bookmark it, like and subscribe, all that other good stuff. Uh, Kareem, take it away. What was your thoughts on Anthony Mackie's introduction as Captain America?
Um, I may lose some credibility when I say this because I think there's been, some negative reviews out there, but I actually liked it. I actually enjoyed it, and I kind of want to see it again. Is it the best MCU movie out there? Not by a long shot. I think it had its issues, but I think for what it was an enjoyable movie. My only issue with it, my main issue with it is the changing of the name from New World Order to Brave New World. To me, seemed like they were going to tone down the movie a lot. And I was actually right about that because the movie wasn't itself brave. It was decent. It was well put together. It wasn't brave in terms of the storyline, going places where you would be like, wow, the MCU has been impacted. The characters are impacted. But the movie never actually pretended to be that at any point during this time. So I do have to say, uh, I do enjoy Anthony Mackie as Captain America. He was much better as Captain America in this movie than he was in the show. So every time he was on the screen, I felt like he was doing the character Sam Wilson as Captain America justice, because we all know Sam Wilson as Captain America is different from Steve Rogers. So I think they captured that very well in showing that he is Sam Wilson as Captain America. He's trying to be his own Captain America while doing his character justice. So I don't know what has changed since the TV show versus the movie, but I think he did an excellent job in the role of Sam Wilson and coming off as Captain America. I think a huge part of that was he was actually winning fights. He was winning fights in this movie as opposed to getting beat up by a chair, getting beat up. So they obviously show that he trained, he improved. And he was beating them down. I mean, the Winter Soldier opening sequence when Captain America infiltrates the boat, you get an understanding of his power level, what he can do instantly. The beginning of this movie did give us an idea of how Sam Wilson would be, and he was, excuse my language, but kicking asses and taking names. And the movie showed that often that it wasn't just the suit. Um, he had many fights without the suit, and he was winning against some credible villains. And so I think that went a long way in terms of establishing him as a hero and establishing him as the lead of the show, because he wasn't being saved left and right by somebody else. We didn't have to watch him, you know, losing while other characters kept winning. And not only that, but he was also a leader in terms of his unit and leading the new Falcon, who I'm glad they introduced. Joaquin Torres, who I've enjoyed in the comic books. And I was pleasantly surprised that they even did the new Falcon justice, because he is relatively new, unlike other studios who they have Nightwing and people still don't know who he is in the movie world, but that's neither here nor there. And Nightwing's been around for what, 50 years now, longer? So I do love the way that they developed the new Falcons character. The dynamic between the two of them was done very well. Where yes, they both are superheroes with wings, but they came off as completely different characters. Um, they had a nice mix of villains. Uh, they had ones that obviously we saw in the trailer. Sidewinder, Serpent Society. They got a little, quick shout out. And then there was also someone that was behind the scenes, pulling all the strings, that led to, obviously what was revealed in the trailer, the big finale with the Red Hulk. Um, so I did love the storyline. Um, the storyline did play it safe to me in the sense of a lot was happening, but a lot was resolved. Resolved nice and neat. Everybody just gets along. It wasn't really challenging, which I think was part of what was missing because Captain America, he challenges a lot. Um, and in this, it wasn't really that challenging. It was more along the lines of we disagree as to how certain characters are being treated. Um, Isaiah Bradley, loved every scene that he was in. Uh, that to me set the tone in terms of understanding Sam Wilson because they didn't shy away from the history of Isaiah Bradley. Even though that was discussed in the show, they still brought it up again where you understand that, yes, sometimes Black veterans, a lot of them, have not been treated well by their own government, even coming back. And even that played a role here as well, where one has been a hero, and again, the movie didn't really touch on that, but one was actually a hero, one was in ways a villain, one is the president, the other one behind bars. So it's like, it even touches on some of those dynamics as well. And it really felt like a sequel to one of my favorite MCU movies, and that's The Incredible Hulk. So I actually enjoyed it. What are your thoughts on these?
Sir, we can't hear you. You on mute, sir.
Sorry.
Sir.
No, I enjoyed it. I get what you were saying as far as the title change from New World Order to A Brave New World. I think maybe because of the current climate and our reality that they might have changed it, but I think New World Order would have fit better. I enjoyed the early scenes of combat showing us how well skilled Anthony Mackie's Captain America was now using the shield in combination with his martial arts and fighting abilities. He definitely leveled up since we've last seen him in the Falcon and Winter Soldier. There was some issues. I felt like there was not enough screen time for certain characters. I would have loved to seen more of Giancarlo Esposito's character in the movie. He had some scenes, but it felt, rushed isn't the right word. It just felt like it was too short. Like they gave us a little sample of him. I'm hoping he comes back for future scenes or references. Like you mentioned, the Serpent Society. Maybe they'll dive deeper into that in future movies. Joaquin Torres, is nice to see him there, and as well as him not just being a man in the ear kind of thing. Like it was not like Captain America's doing all the work and he's just the guy in the computer doing all the logistical stuff. You actually see him in the suits. He and Captain America are both in the air at the same time fighting and whatnot. I thought that was good. But to me, what I enjoyed is that they tied in other films. I know a lot of the recent films aren't that great, but I like that they tied in the celestial being from the Eternals into this film. And then they also referenced that adamantium, and that is adamantium is part of the celestial being, and that they're now basically fighting over those resources that's on that island or the celestial being that's partially coming out of the planet. And that's where a lot of the conflict of this movie comes from. So I was kind of hoping to hear more about adamantium, maybe even in the post-credit scene or mention of mutants or anything like that. But I think they use it as a teaser for possibly showing us that in the future movies, which I'm fine with. It was nice to see that they're kind of opening up the doors more for the world of X-Men and the world of mutants and things like that, with what they're referencing in Mephisto and Agatha all along, and now adamantium here. So maybe it's slowly starting to add more of the X-Men items or verbiage into our MCU. I enjoyed the movie. I think for people who enjoyed the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, I feel like this is a nice little bump up in the level of quality, level of dialogue, level of action. It's not in my top 5 of like Marvel movies, but I think when we look at the 4 Captain America movies, I think this one is either 2 or 3. I think the first one to me is always going to be Winter Soldier. I think that was a great movie. I think this one was tried to be like Winter Soldier with the political thriller aspect of it, like who's pulling the strings of doing these covert ops and things like that. I think that's where these two are similar. I think this one's a little bit different because while the stakes are a little bit higher and the Brave New World, I think we as an audience expected a little bit more because we've already seen 15 almost 20 movies of Marvel stuff. So I think we're looking for more grandiose presentation from each movie, unfortunately. So not every movie is going to be Endgame, and if it's not Endgame, people are going to be upset. It didn't have all of this, didn't have all of these cameos. There's cameos, not as many as you'd like, but there's some cameos. There's definitely some action. Like Kareem said, this is definitely references and ties back to the Incredible Hulk. So you're going to have, Thunderbolt Ross, his daughter Betty, things, references like that, and other characters and stuff. And they even reference, the destruction of Harlem and stuff like that in this film with some screenshots of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I give this movie a 7 out of 10. It's not bad, but it wasn't groundbreaking. It wasn't like, oh, this is. I personally don't think I need to see it again in the theaters. But I enjoyed it. It was not a bad movie. I did enjoy it though.
Yeah. I I agree. It's 7 out of 10, solid 7 out of 10. I would rank it as well. I do agree with your point. The Serpent Society they probably could have received a little bit more shine. This
Mm-hmm.
movie, I do like um, the introduction of characters, the introduction of storylines, but I think sometimes the payoff needs to be in that same movie as well, where we don't need to see a villain get killed, but we like to see more than just, okay, you never know what they're going to do down the line with this character in terms of feeling better about how much they show. So I do agree, Sidewinder, there could have been a little bit more to his story. Um, and they could have dove into that without affecting the overall arc of the actual story, because I felt like they played it safe at some point in terms of resolving everything, where obviously the Celestial is not going to have the biggest impact in terms of revealed in Captain America: Brave New World, but that could have occurred at some point. But it's the understanding that, okay, these things won't be touched on because they're going to be touched on in the future movie or in a future series, and sometimes that's good, sometimes it's not good enough. Um, especially with the price surging for movies, where you're like, wait, this is a matinee. It shouldn't be $20 something at
Nah,
nine
buddy.
o'clock in the morning.
Nah,
Uh,
buddy.
and
Nah,
so you
buddy.
don't want to just get a setup for another movie or another show. You want to see some of the payoff, and I think that's one of the things that's underestimated about Winter Soldier, where you went in thinking, okay, we're going to get Bucky, we're going to get the Winter Soldier storyline. This is going to be really good because it was good in the
Mm-hmm.
comic books. And then they just blew the doors off of everything. Complete surprise, where Hydra is part of Shield, is infiltrated, it changed. One of my favorite shows, Agents of Shield, completely from that point on, and that happened in the movie itself. So
Yeah.
sometimes we can allow big things to happen in these movies without affecting the overall story. And I feel that way based on the post credit scene, where I know we're still on the multiverse. I know that still hasn't been resolved. I don't know where they're going with the multiverse. Hopefully, we see Kane at some point again. Uh, but did they really need to have a reference to that in this movie? Probably not.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's coming, but we can also have a movie here where they can focus on that. If you understand what adamantium is, the connections to X-Men, Wolverine, other items. Uh, so we don't need to be reminded, oh yeah, there's a multiverse too. Uh, it's just, I think they could have developed some of the other storylines where he did have to find out what the Serpent Society was doing or seeing more of what's going on, because those scenes were entertaining. And again, I did enjoy the action sequences tremendously. Um, I just felt like they wanted to wrap it up in a nice, neat little bow.
So since I haven't seen it, like, do they treat the Serpent Society the same way they did the original 10 Rings? Like from the the way you look.
Well, they're not considered a joke, but it's just a reference. Like, you see Sidewinder, John Carlos Esposito's character is like, oh no, the Serpent Society. That's it. There's no
There's
deeper
no
dive into the lore of them, who they are. Just the bad guys. Okay, keep it moving. Don't even get to see
Yeah.
the logo, so it's not.
Yeah.
Oh wow. We
Yeah,
didn't
so it's
even
not like
get
yeah.
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a joke at all. The problem is it was actually interesting. That's the thing. It
Mhm.
was like Giancarlo. He. Come on. I
He's
don't have to
captivating.
explain
Yeah.
how. Yeah, like I don't know how to explain that. And so it's actually interesting. Even the fight scene with Sam Wilson, Anthony Mackie, that was very entertaining. But then it's over, and it's
Yeah.
like you like come on, this is really good. Like, give us more of that. Like, you can't
But I think
introduce
that's
something really good and say the history of the Serpent Society,
mhm.
and then say, okay, now we have to stop it here to get back to this. Like, no, that was really good. Like, let it rock, let it rock.
But see, I think that's the problem sometimes with these movies, especially with Captain America being Sam Wilson's that he's fighting, aside from the Red Hulk, he's fighting other human beings. So these fights shouldn't be long lasting as well as taking this kind of damage. You're not Superman fighting Zod, throwing dudes up through buildings and stuff and keep going. Like he just put his feet in your chest. He's out. It's
Yeah.
like it's over. It's not going to be okay. I'm going to get up and I'm going to keep fighting. I can do this all day. No, you're down. The next scene is what else happens. You're now arrested or you're now doing something else. There are scenes of great dialogue. There's scenes of great action, but everything has consequence. Like you see the dialogue between Falcon, Captain America, and Isaiah Bradley. Before they go into the White House, what happens to him after he goes to the White House? Good. I think as a person of color, the dialogue hits has more weight, has more gravitas to it than it does if you just a superhero's talking to a former superhero or super soldier in prison. Now it is those scenes play out a little bit more real in our society, and to me it makes it seem a little bit more serious than it was.
So potentially that means they have black writers.
There may be a black writer.
Yeah.
There may be a black writer there.
Oh, okay. I'm I'm curious.
It wasn't one. They didn't have one for his size. I don't know what they did with Isaiah Bradley's haircut. Man, I was like, remind me of Wesley Snipes and Demolition Man. I was like, what they do to this man? What they do to Mantis?
No.
But no, it's a good film. If you have a chance to see it in the theaters, I implore people to go and check it out and support Anthony Mackie in this film. But the numbers count. So I think I saw online. I don't know how actually accurate it is, but it said, this Captain America: Brave New World is the second highest opening for a Captain America film. The only one that didn't beat out is Captain America: Civil War. So that means it did better than Winter Soldier, and it did better than Captain America: The First Avenger. That's opening weekend. So we'll see what it does. Totally when it's out of the theaters. But the Winter Soldier only brought in 36 million, and Captain America: The First Avenger only brought in 25. And it made more than that combined in the first weekend. So that's good for him. Hopefully that means that they'll further support Anthony Mackie in another film in the very near future.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's a good film.
Was it #1 over the weekend?
Yeah.
There's nothing else out right now that I'm aware of. That nothing else right now that's out that would have challenged it. Wicked's had its run. Dinner Thieves or whatever that was weeks ago. There's nothing else out right now.
Dog Man. No, I'm kidding.
Shut up! My nephew wants to go see that. I think they went and saw that on Saturday. Like they went and saw Dog Man. I was like,
I thought that came out like during the holidays, like during Christmas.
It did.
Oh, okay.
I want to see it too.
I'll wait till it comes on streaming. But away from the theaters, we'll jump to the small screen. So the third season of Image Comics' Invincible began. I think the first week it came out, it had 3 episodes, and this past week was episode 4. So
yes,
it's going good. I mean, for those who are not familiar with Invincible, it's a superhero. Pretty much he's like the title of the show. He's invincible. He can fly, has super strength, super strong, all that good stuff. His father knows an alien similar to Superman, but his role was that he came to the Earth to basically conquer it, and end up fathering the child and leaving the planet and leaving his son there. And so his son has to now become basically invincible. He has to become the superhero to protect Earth in case his father and his father's alien breed come back and try to take over Earth. Now, I'm super paraphrasing the last 2 seasons, so for those who have seen it, yeah, I know I'm leaving out a whole chunk of storylines, but for those who haven't seen it, it's definitely a good show. It's Amazon Prime. A lot of gore, a lot of blood, a lot of no. So I enjoy that.
So much.
Yeah. Have you seen the current seasons yet, Kay?
I have seen only I think up to the first 2 episodes, like A Deal with the Devil, but
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
but I'm reading the synopsis for You Want a Real Costume.
Yeah. It's a lot of stuff happens in these first 3 episodes, and there's some people that show up that I didn't think was going to come back. Um, part of me wants to read the comics so I can know everything that's going to happen. The other part of me is just happy to be along for the ride and the surprise of what shows up every week. So I'm stuck in that kind of quandary.
um, so I like the season. I'm not familiar with the comic books, and I've been holding off on reading it because I've been enjoying the show. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think this season is starting off a lot faster than last season. Um, in terms of the story moving forward overall. Some parts of it seem like it's like, well, didn't we do that last season? Like the time traveling, the other possibilities of what happens with Mark. It's like I get it. It was entertaining, but we've kind of seen that, and I feel that it may play a role later. I'm sure it will, but it's like we've seen that already. Um, I want to see more of Mark's transformation. I want to see what Oliver can really do. I enjoy how he's actually challenging the status quo in the sense of he's not trusting anyone really, because he understands with that absolute how a lot can happen. So I'm enjoying this season a lot more than the last season, which I enjoyed a lot. Uh, this show is just captivating to me. I watch every episode as soon as it drops. I want to see more Viltrumites get theirs,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and even the storyline with Mark's father. It's like I don't know if this is the same way that it develops in the comic book, but this is someone at the end of season 1 everyone hated, like easily everyone hated dude, um, and now it's like, well, maybe we were
No,
judging him a little too quickly. We're like, yeah, he's still a terrible person, but he may be a useful person down the line. And so
it's like you're
I'm
terrible, but you have uses.
exactly. And so I think that's kind of what the theme is trying to say, where everyone is not going to be a hero. Everyone's not going to be a hero. But everyone isn't also a black and white character. So we're not going to cheer for Mark's father. I don't even want to say his name. I don't remember his name. No, I don't his name. But we understand that there are people worse than him too.
Yeah.
And so I really like the way there are layers to the characters. I mean, even Debbie's storyline is kind of like, I thought I was gonna be like, come on, we don't need to see it, but I'm like, wait, you know what? I get it. It's pretty cool to watch even her storyline, develop this season, because I think there's more to what's happening with her too. But that's just my mind working. But I'm enjoying the season. I'm enjoying the season a lot.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm not sure
enjoying
where
what
it's going to go.
I am enjoying the season, but like, no, we don't need to keep like he's still evil. Like, I mean, I guess the question is like, because considering that's his race of people, his race is killers, warmongers, destroyers of planets. Are
Mm-hmm.
they wrong? Yes. But is that their nature?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it's like y'all should have just killed each other. Like, yo, you don't need to conquer, like come out, go forth and conquer. No. You want to be warmongering? Kill each other. Bam. Now you know how it works.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, I did just look at the last.
I was gonna say that the most recent of this past Thursday's episode gives you a little bit more information about the Viltrumites. So they do go back to him inside that intergalactic prison with Alan the alien. So that was a good episode and some good information that's revealed there. Again, I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I presume Invincible, the son, is going to survive it all, but I have no idea where this show is going to go. Who's going to actually survive? Because there's people that have died that I thought would be like, oh, these people will last forever. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. They're
Yeah.
gone. And I think that's what I like about it, is that even though these guys and women are super strong and they're superheroes, their life is still fragile. There's no guarantee that we'll see them in the end. Now I'm really enjoying the show. Hopefully that it'll be a lot more episodes this season. I'm not sure how many episodes there will be this season, but I think last season was maybe 10 episodes, maybe 12. And I think that's the downside of animation, that it takes a long time to put this stuff out, so we don't get as much content as we'd like.
Well, there are 25 arcs in the comic book, so.
Well, I'm gonna let you know now. Some of those arcs, I think they've definitely condensed them. And the animes from the first 2 seasons, definitely shrunk a lot of that stuff up. So, or left it out entirely. There's definitely some side stories that we don't see in the first 2 seasons in comparison to what I've read so far in the comics. But we'll see. She's like, I don't know.
I mean, because it's like, what if they? Because in my head, I'm like, okay, if there are 25 proper storylines, there are 3 spin-off storylines.
Mm-hmm.
If you can combine 5 arcs into 1 season, that means we're gonna at least get 5 seasons of the show.
Okay,
which would be good.
Season 3, yeah. Hopefully,
so
Bezos actually uses his money for good and allows us to see another season.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to do it. Like, just do 5 seasons. Each season, you get 5 arcs, and then you're done. And we don't go back to let's draw stuff out just to draw stuff out, and then it sucks.
Yeah, that's that Walking Dead approach.
Ooh.
No, it's like that series should have been wrapped up at least 5 years ago. I could see if afterwards you want to spin off and do these, Daryl, and there's other people who don't exist in the comics do their own thing. Yeah, but the storyline of who dies and who doesn't, it changed that. You do this, but for another day.
Yeah.
For another day. We'll save that for another day. We mentioned earlier in the chat we were going to discuss some gaming. Kareem and I have been playing the latest Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaw, where you embody a smuggler, a scoundrel, a thief, if you will, a non-Jedi wielding individual. So you have someone who doesn't have force powers in the world of Star Wars. A lot of flack was given to the game because they didn't have those special abilities, things that you're used to in a Star Wars game, lightsabers, force wielding, double jumps, super speed, things like that. No, you're just a regular woman who has, she has her own creature with her. But the upside with this is that you can fly a ship. There's dog fights. You travel to a lot of the popular planets we've seen inside of the Star Wars lore. You can shoot stuff, blow things up. I enjoy it. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff happening in this game on various planets outside of the planets that I think anyone who enjoys Star Wars would definitely try their hand at Star Wars Outlaws.
I agree. The open world format in this game is I love it. It's incredible to me. The only thing that I wish for sometimes when I'm just exploring, I'm either on my speeder bike or walking, is I want to hear that Star Wars music. And it's like sometimes it starts off that way, and it's like it's like you just slow, you're just relaxing. But besides that part of it missing, you're right, it does capture that Star Wars feeling. And even though you're not a Jedi, you're not, some famous character, you feel like how you would expect someone who does not have any force power, does not come from, a rich family or a famous name, or even, I guess, took on a famous name. She's not pretending to be a Skywalker or anything like that. Let me stay focused.
That's what you really feel about that character.
you start realizing like, yeah, there's a lot of people who live in this galaxy, obviously with Star Wars, where they're just trying to make ends meet. They're just trying to live day to day. They're trying to survive. And you feel like you're someone who's caught in the midst of all of that, trying to make the best out of their situation. So, having the ship, but then also being able to walk on your ship whenever you want to. It feels like that's your home. Recruiting a team of outlaws to help you, with this, I guess, what's going to be the grand finale. You get to understand their characters, making choices about which organization or clan you're going to betray, complete a job for, or steal from. Those are decisions that have real impact in terms of what you can do next in the game. And I love it. So you're not just existing, you feel like you're having an impact on the world that you're touching, whether you're in the bar on Tatooine, or you're out on your speeder over the water. It feels like you're really inhabiting the world and you're enjoying the choices that you make, because you know what? I don't like the Huts today. I don't like that they had Han Solo on the wall. So yeah, I took a deal with them, but you know what? I'm going to betray them for, the Shiga clan, or
Hey, wait, wait,
Crimson
wait.
Dawn.
They have Han Solo on the wall?
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh
Maybe.
man, I just got to Tatooine, so I gotta
Yeah,
go
I don't
I
know.
gotta go check out
I don't
Jabba's
know.
palace then.
But
Okay.
it's like it's all around that time period, and
Hmm.
so you realize that there's a lot happening in the world outside of the main events that we're already aware of, and it's like, yeah, you're having an impact here. You see some stormtroopers. Why not just take them out if you want to, or why not just
Oh, I
avoid them?
have.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So it's like there's a lot. You get a lot of abilities. I like that adrenaline rush where you can take out multiple people in one shot. So there's
Hmm.
a lot to explore, a lot to want to unlock, and the scenery is just beautiful. I love an open world game where you want to stop and take pictures, because that means that it's really engrossing. And I have taken a
Hmm.
lot of pictures, whether
How
it's on
many
a different
pictures?
planet, dozens, maybe hundreds.
Oh wow.
um,
Okay. Okay.
but it's like this the feeling of it. So you don't even have like hyperdrive in the beginning of the game. But
Hmm.
the moment when you finally get your ship repaired, it's not really your ship, but it becomes your ship. You get it repaired and you can punch it and go into hyper. There's nothing more satisfying than that. So when the first time it said, push the two sticks to go into hyperdrive, and I did it, it's like, oh, this is amazing. So it captures the excitement of existing in the Star Wars universe without having any of the force powers, any of the names. And I think they did a remarkable job. Um, I maybe they fixed a lot of bugs. I don't know, but some of the things that I've seen about the complaints about the game, that about people who I guess didn't want to play it, such
Hmm.
as, oh, how is she able to knock out a stormtrooper with a helmet with just a punch? And it's like, okay,
Because
that's
you're a
valid.
stormtrooper.
But how many games are that realistic? I mean, you can't take a bottle, hit someone in the head, and knock them out, and the glass shatter. That doesn't happen in real life. So you can do that in games. People don't complain about that. So it's like the
Hmm.
suspension of disbelief. Can people really
Hmm.
climb up, the side of a cliff? That no. So if you want to nitpick knocking someone out with your bare hands, then you can nitpick a lot of things about these games where it's like that's not how it really happens. Is it
Yeah.
fun to knock out a stormtrooper? When Nick's distracted? Absolutely. I'm not going to say, well, she didn't punch him directly on the temple and stop it. So you can tell when there are some valid complaints and where there are complaints that's just to present something in the light that it shouldn't be, because I'm really surprised that this game caught a lot of negativity. It is extremely enjoyable, and it is, I don't know, maybe even better than the Last Jedi game.
Okay, but did they potentially catch? Because we know gamers are how's the nicest way to put this? Fickle
Jerks.
pieces of crap. So could it be because that you're playing as a female, and that's like
No.
that's the that because like I swear if it was if the name if the person wasn't oh really the character's name is Kay.
Yes.
Yes. Kay Bess. Yes. There we go. Represent for your people.
Okay, but like if the character's name wasn't Kay and the character was maybe like Kyle, I mean they would probably have a problem with the name like Kyle. But like I guarantee you, if the person was Kyle, there wouldn't be potentially some of the issues with like because I'm looking at it and I'm like, this is a beautifully done game, and I'm just okay. Although I agree with you, like, ma'am, how are you climbing that little?
But see, I mean,
You
those
falling
are.
through there?
I think that's to me is from someone who's played like the Tomb Raider games, and other games where you have to climb things or jump from ledge to ledge. I'm in a game. I know I personally can't leap from one side of a wall. I'm not doing no American Ninja competition kind of stuff. So if she can do that in the game, that's fine. Because there's been many times where I missed a ledge and I die and then respawn. My biggest gripe with the game is that unlike other RPGs, unlike other action adventure games, you can keep and collect weaponry that you pick up. I can pick up a shotgun or a gun, and if I'm climbing up someplace or I drop down someplace, that gun just falls out of my inventory, just falls on the floor. So sometimes I'm able to pick it back up, but sometimes I can't. Like if there's a cutscene, I'm walking through like an exit out of a cave, and the gun that I had inside the cave from a bad guy that I took, they automatically just drop it on the floor. I can't pick it back up. Not that it's empty of no more bullets, it's just I can't pick it back up. That to me is like it sucks because I think they're trying to focus you on just using your smuggling skills and just a little blaster, just leveling up that blaster using the ion plasma or the explosive capabilities of it, as opposed to you being able to purchase and pick up the sniper rifles, the heavy cannons and things like that you come across in your travels, but you can't make it a mainstay of your character, which I think was I really didn't care for that, but it's not enough for me to say, oh, this game is no. It's okay, it sucks. It just changes the way you want to actually play the game. Because now I got to use that blaster a little bit more precise, and I'll send your little animal out to distract people while I can shoot them. Those kind of mechanics I didn't really care for, but aside from that, like Kareem says, driving around on your speeder on the plains of Tatooine or Tashara or the other planets, it's fun. I think the only thing I would have been able to enjoy even more is if you got into your spaceship and being able to fly around the planet too, outside of not just an orbit, but just low orbit flying around or something like that. That'd have been nice to see. But aside from that, I haven't had any problems with the game. I enjoy it. There's a lot of missions, a lot of smuggling contracts and stuff you can do, or side missions. Every mission, there's two to three options you can go. So like say you get a contract from the Huts, and they want you to steal something from this person. Halfway through the contract, someone else, one of the 5 factions will contact you and say, we'll pay you double if you give us that information. Now, what do you do? Because if you give the information back to the Huts, your reputation with them goes up. Your reputation with the other people won't go up, but you'll get more money that way. Or other ways, you'll get more money with the other people. The reputation goes up with them, but the reputation with the Huts go down. Depending upon how your reputation is, you get more benefits. So the Hut shopkeepers will give you a discount, or give you better weaponry and gadgets. Or if you don't have no good reputation, they may just shoot you on sight. So you go into someone's territory, they bring out the steel and they're ready to blast you, right? Just because you cross into their territory. That to me makes the game more interesting, because as right now, I haven't been able to get in good graces with everyone at the same time. Like the Pikes, it's bad. Like the Pikes see me, they ready to start blasting. The Huts, I'm good. The Shiga clan, I'm excellent. The Crimson Dawn, I think I'm good. No, so it's like, and again, everyone has their own rewards for being good or great in their eyes. But being good allows you to sneak into restricted areas with very minor repercussions. Other times, like I said, they see you, even in the marketplace. You're not good with the Huts. It's okay. Let's gotta run. That to me makes the game fun. It adds another level of complications as well as gameplay to it, where you have to kind of really think out what you want to do in this mission. Do you want to forego the reputation for this one to kind of ease off and make it easier for these other people that you may have to encounter later on? You don't know, and everyone plays it differently. I mean, so Kareem may be not in the good graces with the Huts, or no, it all depends on how you play the game.
Yeah, it's Crimson Dawn was my favorite group at first. Then they did another clan dirty. I'm like, yeah, maybe they're not as noble as I thought. and then the price was on, like you said, it was on site. But now I'm excellent with them, and they give you really
Okay.
good gear. So like
Mhm.
they leave stuff on your ship. You're like, hey, maybe I should stay in a good graces with the price. The Husk, we've been going at it since day one. You know, they tried to kill Luke. They did Leia dirty. They did Han dirty. It's on for life now.
Do you get to see any of the huts in actually in any of the cutscenes? Anything? Now, it doesn't have to be Jabba, but a hut. Do you see any of them? I haven't seen any of them yet.
Uh, there are references. There are references. I'll leave it
Mhm.
like that because then it's nice when it happens. You're like, oh wow, I didn't expect that. So
Okay.
there are a lot of references that you'll appreciate. Now I'm trying to get in better graces with the Hush because I realized, oh, they have some nice rewards too. Um, but yeah, my it was terrible. My relationship with them, I think it was poor or bad, but it was on site. But like you said, it gives it that authenticity
Hmm.
because the commentary that Kay adds when these things are happening is pretty nice, and it's like it's entertaining. So it adds that touch to it where you're like, okay, um, I can see how this could really occur on the world of Tatooine, um,
Hmm.
or even just waiting in the desert watching the two suns in the sky. And then you're like, oh wow, this is changing. So there's so many aspects to this game where it's just very engrossing to me. The world building, everything, the choices you make, it really has an impact on your gameplay.
Yeah.
I do agree about the heavy weapons. Even if that's not your play style, it should give people the option of leveling up or an ability where you can carry a heavy weapon consistently. Um, I do like you can change your blaster type, but in the middle of a battle, sometimes that's not really convenient. Uh, it doesn't take away from the gameplay for me overall, because I've been using more stealth than just outright blasters. Like even with Nyx, I have him blow up grenades, and he creates a lot of chaos. Yeah, Nyx, it's a lot of fun. Can I see your reactions? But
You
you
can
can
you can
do a
send them
lot.
away to the trigger, like there might be explosives over there. You have them trigger it,
Yeah,
and they'll get distracted. Like I use that when I go into the Imperial bases. Like
yeah,
I'll go over here, and again that thing that also adds a lot of fun to it, where you can hack or slice into those data ports, kind of like R2. It can just override the turrets, and now the turrets are shooting at the Imperials and stuff like that, causing a little distraction. Those are fun, but I also like it as far as just sometimes you sit there and listen to conversations. I
yeah,
think I was on Tatooine and I was walking behind two Imperials and they were talking. One of them was talking about he had a shoulder injury from Hoth. So I was like, oh, okay. I was listening. He's like,
yeah.
oh, no, I've got the old shoulder injury. I was out in Hoth. Yeah, I was no. I was like, oh, okay. So it's listening in on these little side conversations. It adds a little bit more depth to the world of Star Wars.
Oh yeah, I can't buy it. I just looked at how much. I just looked at the how like what space you need to do it to download it from Steam. I was like 65 gigs. I don't think I have space left.
You got time to clear out the library.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't want to get another external hard drive just to play video
You should
games.
have. I mean, by now you can get one of those external hard drives that have like maybe 4 or 5 terabytes on it.
I do, but there's okay. I have problems because I got like a lot of pictures and a lot of music, like a
Oh,
lot.
okay.
So, but yeah, because I just had to, and I'm playing on a laptop, so I just had to get rid of. I mistakenly downloaded Sims 4 because it was free.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The way in which my laptop was like, oh no, we're not doing this. I was like, well, we're good. No, thank you. It was just the fan just was like, and I was like, oh yeah, no, we're not playing this game. So 65 gigs on my maybe I have to just build a new computer.
We shall see.
Yeah.
But
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I think it's worth it. 65 gigs is not bad in terms of what they offer you. Some games they want 100 gigs. And you're like, why? Um, so 65 in comparison, where you have multiple planets to explore and you can get lost in the game, I would say it's worth deleting like Sims 4 or something else for it.
Yeah, I got rid of Sims 4. I was like, I can't do this. So I should I guess I do have the space because I got rid of Sims. So man, but it's just so much. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna watch more people play it on Twitch, and then I will make a decision. Because if I watch people and they have drops,
Nah.
oh, who knows? But wait, Is like, has the final update for the game been done, or are
I
they
hope
talking about
so.
more?
The game's been out and it's on discount.
Yeah.
You can't have a game on discount. You're still ain't put out the final patches. There is a DLC, I think, some side missions and stuff, but I'm not really caring about. I think they might introduce Lando Calrissian or something like that, but it's not moving the needle enough for me to want to pick it up.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, if maybe there's more DLCs, or if there's or more patches, maybe in the next one they can just add the ability for you to use different guns and different weapons, so that way, if they hear enough people say, "Well, we want to use other than just her blaster, can we keep some of her weapons?" Maybe that's a good enough reason to do a potentially another DLC, just so it makes it a little bit better or more interactive, or I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah.
We shall see. We'll report back once we finish the game. I think Kareem's probably closer to finishing the title than I am. But we'll give you a review once we're done with the game, what the replay value is of it. So we will wrap up this episode now. I think the next episode, I'm not sure what we'll discuss next episode. We'll keep it a surprise. But we're your hosts, Kay, Kareem, and Hanif. Have a good one.